Hello, y'all. We're back. Ronnie's going to continue to talk about what we talked about
The
before.
training
Yeah,
process, the
and my mind
training
went blank.
process. Yeah, she getting she. It's my birthday. I'm supposed to be the one blanking now. But anyway, we gonna talk about that whole training process because as we get together as couples and
Yeah.
how we act with one another, show each other how we want to be treated by one another. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Say for instance, like if you got a husband that when his wife come towards him with a
Hmm.
decision and he look a certain way.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying? And what that does is train her not to
Hmm.
come towards him.
It does.
You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And so that's not only do we train as a husband, but we train as wives too.
We
We
do.
train as children. You know, when we don't really want to deal with the mouth that we're gonna hear from our child, which we shouldn't hear any mouth
In
anyway.
the first place.
But the fact is when we do, so then what ends up happening is we stop going towards them.
Hmm.
We stop going towards them, and that's how wives end up making all them decisions because they allow the training process to train them in to where the husband look a certain way, and then I've heard wives say when he looking at TV, I don't mess with him.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Well,
Hmm.
when decisions got to be made, they got to be made,
It
and and,
does.
and I think really, wives need to really understand what this whole thing submission is, because some weird
I
wives are
know.
taking it way to the extreme. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That he doing whatever he want to do, and she's submitting to it.
That's right.
And so that whole train, and when you train a man like that, and you try to make that change, it becomes a difficult situation.
Very, very
Difficult
difficult.
situation.
Very difficult.
And so we got to be careful as husband and wife how we train each other, because if we train each other wrong, then the fact is wrong gonna happen.
It does, and I tell you that too. For a woman, when a man trains her wrong, when she getting everything she wants,
Mm-hmm.
he all of a sudden the click, the light comes on. He said, "Oh, hold up, I done messed up something real bad here," because she thinks she's supposed to get whatever she wants. That ain't the case. I was just trying to love her, boom, 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 keep the peace, whatever the reason was.
Right.
The issue was you trained her wrong.
Right.
And
Right.
so that's what you're getting at this point. And just like Ronnie said, it's very hard to change people when they get in a regimen of things.
Now, I know we gonna get a lot of bashing on that word training.
I know.
You understand what I'm saying? But if you look at it from the perspective of what we talking about, you'll know what we saying.
Yeah, it is. Anything you do repetitively,
Yeah.
you're being trained. You're
Yeah.
training yourself. You
Yeah.
train yourself some things that you do on a
That's right.
repetitive basis. It's like with your child. If you want him not to touch that fire, you continue to pop his hand. Well, guess what? He
You
gets
train them
trained.
not to.
He gets
You
trained.
train them not to. But we want to also talk about too, as we move out of this training process. We want to talk about the detrimental of when I'm talking about when a husband is passive way to the extreme. Because
Exactly.
we got a story in Genesis where you talk about Abram and Sarah.
Yes.
When they were traveling to Egypt, Abram was so afraid of what the Egyptians was gonna do that he threw it right under the bus,
He
man.
did. I'm telling you, that's what men are doing nowadays. They throwing their wives under the bus.
He threw his wife under the bus because he told her, and now we want to look at this thing as a twofold thing.
Absolutely.
Because the fact is, he threw his wife under the bus by telling her to say, "You my sister." So the man won't kill him. So he looking out for himself. He ain't
Exactly.
looking out for her. He looking out for himself.
Hmm.
So he asked her to say you're my sister. So the men, and then when you look at the story, it talks about how well they treated Abram. Just
Absolutely.
because of what that happened right there. Now, you think Abram learned a lesson.
No.
He did the same thing.
That's what I really need men to understand. As long as we let you, you gonna do it again.
He did the same thing, and see now Sarah had a part to play in that, because
Hmm.
she didn't have to agree to say that she was the
I
sister.
know she was really trying to do whatever it took to get this thing done. I
And,
promise you.
and,
That's how
and, and,
women
and
think.
that's the other thing. Matter of fact, I'm glad you hit on that. That's the other thing. You hear men talk about keeping the peace,
Hmm.
and you hear wives talking about, well, I
I
just don't
got to
want to
get
be
it done.
upset.
I
I
got
don't
to
want.
get it done.
And that's what they moving on. So when you look at that thing, now let's take the story even further, because the fact is that men got to understand that thing could be a generational thing.
Oh, it definitely
See,
is. You
men, I
really
want
need to
you,
get
I
that
want you to
quick.
know this. I want you to know this. That your children watching you when you throw that wife under the bus like that,
Hmm.
and they think that's the way it's supposed to go. Because you got to remember how we training our children, that's what they see first.
Absolutely.
And so when you look at the story of Isaac and Rebekah,
Absolutely.
he did the same thing his father did. Throw her under the bus, wanting her to say, hey, you my sister. Because they looking out for themselves. And let me tell you something.
God.
Anytime a man go to that extreme of looking out for himself to where he wouldn't throw his wife out in the front, that's way too passive for me.
That's too much.
That's way too passive. Now
we see it all the time.
And we counsel that kind of stuff because most men, now don't misunderstand me now, so don't be writing in to me, I'm dogging out men and all that stuff. But most men come to counseling because of what? They
wives told them to. And they real clear about that though. I mean, really, they say, hey, I came because she asked me to.
Don't see any need. Don't have
any desire to change, have nothing going on for themselves.
And that's why change don't happen. Because let me tell you something. Remember, we always talk about it's an attitude first before it's an action. So if I don't have an attitude that I need to change, ain't no action going to take place.
Ain't gonna happen.
Ain't no action.
And guess what? It gets trickled down to the children.
Always.
In a very serious way. I need men to understand that. Women too, though. I need you to understand that how you operate in that house is coming down to your children. It proved itself out in Abraham. How he dealt with his stuff. It went all the way down through his generations of kids. They all had the same kind of attitude. Because guess why? Because nobody took the time to change that whole thing around. Because now, we're talking about this now, but it's not like it can't be fixed. Somebody has to make a decision. We're going to stop this chain reaction that's taking place in here. And then we're going to teach our sons and daughters what their real responsibility is, both to themselves and anybody they connect themselves to.
Now, one of the things we got to do to stop that, first of all, man, you got to understand, God has called you and Timothy to manage your home.
Absolutely.
Now, what do that mean? I mean, if you had a place of business, you're not just going to let folks make decisions and do whatever they want to do. You're going to look out for your business.
You are.
You need to look at your home as a business. You investing in your kids. You teaching your wife and you training up your children. And so the fact is, God is calling us. He's calling us men to manage. Now, can we delegate? Yes, we can delegate.
Yeah, you can.
But see, I got to oversee what's going to be said.
Now, let's get real clear about that, Ronnie, because I don't think today when we're counseling people that they understand what we mean by men managing. Because see, women, what they're doing is they're saying, I don't see none of that with Cynthia. I really don't see him managing. He's just saying, you do it and walk away from it. And that is, when I say serious, that's a very serious thing. Because what happens to the woman is she's forced to do things that not necessarily know how to do.
Right.
And she just, whatever falls out of it, falls out of it. And many times it don't fall out right because she out of her place. Now, let's really talk about what it means when she's been given the authority over that money. Because that's where the issue is. The person got the one with that checkbook strapped on to him. That's my real beef. I'm going to get passionate, y'all.
Yeah, okay, now, but you know you're going to need more time than what we got
I know. I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down because I need to have enough that when I get to the next one, we can really get into that. So y'all stick with us right here.
I'm telling you, because we got a lot to be said here.
I really want to tell you guys
and we want to come flat from our feet. We don't want to deal with nothing else. But may God bless you and keep you as our prayer. And remember, a life unexamined is not a life worth living.
Amen.